Welcome to this week's virtual Drasha. This week we have the incredible privilege to read the parashos of Vayakhel, Pikudei, and the Meretz Hashem have the great zechus of completing Sefer Shmos. And Vayakhel, Pikudei are kind of like the mirror or sister parashos to Truma and Tetzaveh. That just like in Truma and Tetzaveh, we spoke about the instructions for the creation of the utensils of the Mishkan, the actual structure of the Mishkan, the Kohanic clothing and vestments. In the parashos of Vayakhel, Pikudei, we are taught about the actual creation of these items. And of course, the parsha ends, the Chumash ends, the Sefer ends with the dramatic event of the actual creation of the Mishkan itself, the commissioning of the Mishkan itself. And I want to draw your attention to something fascinating. The Torah, of course, in this week's parsha also goes into great detail about the creation and fabrication of the Kohanic clothing. I want to draw your attention to one accessory of the Kohen, the avnet, the belt, or probably better stated, the sash. The sash of the Kohen. So the Torah says, this is in Parak Lametes, Pasuk Chavtes, chapter 39, verse 29. Ve'es ha'avnet sheish mashazar, utcheles ve'argamon v'tolas shani ma'aseh rokem, kasher tziva shemes Moshe. What do you make this avnet from? What is the belt, the sash of the Kohen made from? So the Torah tells us, sheish mashazar, twisted fine linen, tcheles argamon tolas shani. So blue, purple, and crimson wool. What is it made of? It's made of wool together with linen. And I see this, and your head's about to explode. Wool and linen, that's sharpness. That's sharpness. And the Torah tells us in Chumash Devarim, Perek Chav Beis, Pasuk Yud Aleph, chapter 22, verse 11, Lo silbash shatnez semer ufishtim yachtov. Do not wear shatnez, wool and linen twisted together or woven together. So it begs the question, what's going on over here? The Torah itself, remember again, what's the point of the Mishkan? The Sefer HaChinuch in the mitzvah of Va'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'socham explains why is there a mitzvah to make a mikdash, to make a Mishkan. Part of there are many different goals, but part of the goal was to create for the people almost like a paradigm of spiritual perfection. So many times we go through life and like everything is incomplete and everything is imperfect. You come to Beis HaMikdash, you see a Kohen, right? A Kohen represents what a Yid, what a Jew is supposed to look like. You see the Beis HaMikdash, which is like this connection between heaven and earth, this synergistic partnership between the material and spiritual. You go to the Beis HaMikdash and it's almost like a microcosm of what the world is supposed to look like. And then you look at the Kohen, and he's wearing his sash, he's wearing his avnet, he's wearing his belt, and it has sharpness. So why? What's the message? Why would it be that the Bigdei Kehuna themselves would be in direct violation of an explicit tenet of the Torah? Now, obviously, if Hashem is telling us to make the avnet like that, then of course it's mutter, it's permitted, but it begs the question, why? You could have made the avnet out of anything. Why dafka sharpness? And the Lubavitcher Rebbe Zechitzad v'Kadosh Lebracha says something incredibly beautiful. The Rebbe says, "Semer ufishtim heim shnei afochim." Wool and linen are two opposites. Chesed ugivura. This is incredible. What do they represent? They represent chesed, divine kindness, and gevura. Gevura means divine strength, or a little bit stated, the divine attribute of strict justice. So ultimately, again, one of these materials represents the divine attribute of kindness, chesed, and the other represents the divine attribute of gevura, strict kindness. He goes on, She'ein inyan b'tol az al ein shtei midos minugados zilazu. So let me explain to you the rest of this outside. So first of all, which one is which? So b'pashtos, wool represents chesed. Wool represents kindness. Wool represents the divine attribute of just kindness, goodness, pleasantness. The wool comes from a docile sheep. The sheep is a very docile, pleasant animal. Not that I have such extensive experience with sheep. But again, the sheep is known as a docile kind animal. How do you make flax? How do you make linen? So remember, you take a flax plant and the whole chap with linen is you have to beat the flax. In fact, we see this all the time in Gemara. The Gemara talks about clay pishton, right? So again, these flax garments, the linen itself has to be made by beating the flax plant. So linen, which only comes out again because of beating of the flax plant, represents gevura, the divine attribute of strict justice. So this is incredible. So I've got wool, which represents chesed, divine kindness. I have linen, which comes beaten from flax, which represents divine attribute of gevura, of strict justice. And the Rebbe says something so profound. You see, let's work backwards. In the world, in the world, so wool and linen can't come together, right? In the world, you can't wear sharpness, you can't wear wool and linen. Because from our perspective in the world, there's a bifurcation between wool and linen. There's chesed and there's gevura. And they're not the same. They're not the same. Chesed are the times in my life where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving me what I want, how I want, when I want. Life is going well. Baruch Hashem, the challenges and disruptions are minimal, and I'm doing what I need to be. I'm living a good life. But I feel the embrace of the Ribono Shel Olam. Those are wool. Those are wool moments. Those are tzemar moments. And then there are linen moments. And the linen moments are harsh. And the linen moments are difficult. And sometimes the linen moments are tragic and overwhelming and turbulent. And when I look at my life, I divide my life into these two categories. Wool moments of chesed and linen moments of gevura, of strict justice. So in the world, there's no wool and linen. In the world, you can't wear sharpness. In the world, you can't wear wool and linen together. But in the Beis HaMikdash, the Beis HaMikdash is a place of clarity. The Beis HaMikdash is a place where we see life for what it is. I see myself for what it is, and I have a greater clarity of conception of the Ribono Shel Olam. In the Beis HaMikdash, I have this epiphany, I have this light bulb goes off, this reality sets in. They're not two different things. Wool and linen go together. Obviously, everyone can see the greatness and love of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the wool, chesed moments of life. But that love, that commitment to our success, that shmira, that divine protection is no less present during the linen, difficult, harsh moments of life as well. The gamzu latova, the idea that everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does for us is somehow for our benefit. Everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does for us is somehow for our advancement. And everything that Hashem does for us is somehow a manifestation of His love. In the Beis HaMikdash, this becomes clear. And this ultimately is personified. And this is modeled by the Kohen wearing shatnez in his belt. The wool and linen come together. The wool and linen exist together. In the Beis HaMikdash, chesed and gevura coexist, because in the clarity of the Beis HaMikdash, I see that everything comes from the same Ribono Shel Olam, who loves me so much. And the Kohen comes, and the Kohen models this for us. I walk into the Beis HaMikdash, and what do I see? I see a Kohen. And what is he wearing? An avnate. And what does the avnate have? It has wool and linen mixed together. And what's the lesson for me? The lesson for me is wool and linen can be mixed together. Wool and linen should be mixed together. Because both chesed and gevura, both love and difficulty, both of these divine attributes all stem from the same God who loves me, cares for me, and watches over me at all moments. An incredible insight. But I want to add on one more piece. Because you would think then that our avoda in this world is we should dafka wear shatnez outside of the Beis HaMikdash as well. In other words, isn't my entire avoda, isn't my entire job to reach a level of avnate emunah? Isn't that the goal? That I should reach this level where I could wear wool and linen together? Where I could see these two things coexist? Where I could say to myself, yes, Hashem, this hurts. Whatever I'm going through in life, it's difficult, it's overwhelming, it hurts, but I know that it is a manifestation of your love. I know that this is happening to me, not because you hate me, not because you dislike me, not simply because you want to punish me, but somehow, some way, this is for my good. This is latova. This is advancement. This is kapara. This is love. Shouldn't we wear shatnez outside the Beis HaMikdash? Shouldn't there be a commandment? Just like I have to put tzitzis on every single four-cornered garment, why not slap shatnez onto everything? Make it a mitzvah to ingrain this ideological truth. And I think HaKadosh Baruch Hu is teaching us a very profound lesson. That in this world, we have to accept that often we cannot reconcile the shatnez. You see, we're often kind of like a predisposition to problem solving. I want to work through everything, and I want everything to make sense. And that's why often we become frustrated when things don't make sense. And I think what the mitzvah of shatnez, or the prohibition of shatnez outside of the Beis HaMikdash, is the Ribono Shel Olam telling us the following. There are things that you can know in your mind. I know certain truths intellectually, but it doesn't mean that I'm able to go ahead and necessarily accept them emotionally. So I know that wool and linen come from the same source. And I know that shyness is the highest theological level, where you could see that even the linen moments of adversity, difficulty, and tragedy come from Hashem. But you know what? I know it in my mind, but I can't necessarily actually embrace that feeling. And I think HaKadosh Baruch Hu is telling us, it's okay. It's okay. Life has difficulties, life has challenges. And sometimes, as long as you know intellectually that shyness all comes from the same HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even if emotionally you can't feel that, and even if you don't have the ability necessary to even allow that reality to shape the way that you live, it's okay. See, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows our abilities, and He also sometimes knows our limitations. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows us to experience the bifurcation of emotion in this world. He allows us to go ahead and live in the struggle. Some things I can't work out. I can't wrap my head around Tzaddik Varalo about why bad things happen to good people. I can't. I can't wrap my head around my mom. I understand intellectually that the whole formulation is wrong because I'm looking at things as bad things. But me'ito lo teitzehara, everything that comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu is good. My mind knows that. My mind knows it. But my heart, it's hard. It's just hard to feel it. And it's hard to ingest it. And it's hard to live it. And it's hard to emote it. It's hard. And I think HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving us the license to kind of live with this disconnect through the prohibition of shyness. See, in the world, in the Welt, you don't wear wool and linen together. You know why? Because in the world, in life, it's really hard to get to the level where you feel like the linen moments of life are from Hashem and are good and are somehow for my benefit. It's hard. It's hard to get to that level. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes in and, so to speak, affirms the personalistic struggle that each of us face. And that's why outside of the Beis HaMikdash, there is no shyness. But in the Beis HaMikdash, where there's clarity, in the Beis HaMikdash, where there's the Shechina, in the Beis HaMikdash you wear shyness. Because in the Beis HaMikdash there's epiphany, this reality, this understanding that everything comes from Hashem. Outside of the Beis HaMikdash, I accept that I'm going to live with the struggle. And you have to accept it. We spend so much emotional energy trying to deny the struggle, trying to answer the struggle. You know what? Embrace the struggle. Embrace it. Accept the fact that in life, you're not going to be able to reconcile the wool and linen moments. And once you accept it, it's liberating. I accept I'm going to live with the struggle. That's it. But in the Beis HaMikdash, there's clarity. And Chevra, it gives us such a renewed purpose to daven for Mashiach, to daven for the Geula, to daven for the Beis HaMikdash. Because one day, very soon, that day is going to come. The Beis HaMikdash is going to be rebuilt. And those of us who are not Kohanim, unfortunately, are going to go to the Beis HaMikdash. And I can't wait to look at the avneit of the Kohen. Because I know that when I look at it, and I see that shatnez, the switch is going to flip, right? The light bulb is going to go off. I'm going to say, I got it. The shatnez comes from Hashem. And somehow, some way, not only are the beautiful, wonderful, and happy moments in life from my Father above, but the difficult ones are as well. And not only are the happy, wonderful, beautiful moments of life for my personalistic self-advancement and benefit, but the challenges, adversity, and tragedy are there somehow for my benefit as well. Let's daven. Daven hard and daven often for that great day when we'll be able, in Eretz Hashem, to cast our eyes upon the Kohen, upon his avneit, and in Eretz Hashem, finally reconcile the wool and linen of life. Wishing everyone a good Erev Shabbos and a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh.